me Z and T, cause I'm the best in the game. I got the fame, the style that isn't lame.
Hey, is there a cassette tape anywhere?
I sure do. This cassette is the best, I can attest. Best cassette in the east to the west. Yeah, I ain't a rapper. This cassette's dapper. I'm no capper.
Okay, do you mind if I take that off your hands?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, thank you.
No problem, bro.
And this is this week's Closet Classics.
Hi, I'm Jim Casper from Four Horseman Eat, and we're at Mooo Restaurant. First, I'm going to go tour the Common, and then we're going to try a little food sampling and wine pairing in Mooo.
Hi, and welcome to Four Horseman Eat. I'm Jim Kasparian, and today we're at Mooo Restaurant, and we're with Jason Michalak. He is going to talk about some great food pairings and wines that might favor well with them. And we're excited to see what we're going to have and what we're going to drink with them. Jason, a little bio on yourself?
Sure. My name is Jason Michalak. I've been the wine director here at Mooo for about the last year. I've been in the restaurant business my whole life. Wine is both a passion and now my professional choice for a career. So here at Mooo, I'm in charge of putting together the wine list, keeping the inventory straight, and of course assisting all our guests in private parties with wine selections and food pairings to make their meal a little more memorable. To that end, I think we've picked a few things that we serve here with some really nice wine pairings.
Okay, what are we going to try first?
Our first glass of wine is an Essence Riesling by S.A. Prun, a German Riesling, cabinet level. It's actually not qualified, but basically a little Riesling with a slight bit off dryness, and the littlest bit of sparkle on the tongue, just almost barely noticeable.
Okay. I think the first one's coming in, actually. Come on in.
Thank you very much, John.
Okay.
And the pairing with this wine, or the wine pairing with this dish, this is our Wagyu beef dumplings.
Okay.
Wagyu is an incredibly well-marbled breed of cattle grown here in the U.S. In this dumpling preparation, it's combined a little onion, some fresh thyme, and sauce, this is the important part, with a little mixture of sweet chili sauce, dark soy, garlic, bit of sesame. So I think
it's going to play well. It's going to play well with the Riesling.
Exactly. I think Riesling, in terms of matching wine and food, I think the first thing you have to think about is the weight of the wine. Yep. The weight of the wine is usually the first step in terms of a match. But the second level, or the second thing that's most important as far as I can think, is the acidity level in the wine. Acidity levels in the wine, acidity in the food play off each other very much. In this case, we have some vinegar in the sauce. We have Riesling, which is a very, very high acid wine. Now, acid in the food, acid in the wine together, it's going to complement each other. It's going to bring the acid down in the wine, make it feel well-rounded, really integrated. If you start off with a low acid wine and you have that acidity in the food,
sure, yeah,
you're going to end up with the wine tasting flabby or undeveloped, a little fat.
Josh has mentioned that too to me. We throw some food together. He brings out something, and it's similar. I think. Excited?
I'm very excited because this bucks the. I think it bucks the common assumption that you have to pair red wine with red, or beef with red meat with red wine.
Absolutely.
White foods with white wine.
Yeah, and I think we'll get into this later too on a dish. often people think it's the protein that you have to pair. I think usually it ends up being the sauce or the preparation, which end up being more determine your matching.
Some of those sauces can really overwhelm a
Exactly.
wine.
I mean, think of a poached chicken breast with a little white lemon sauce. You're going to think white wine, but a fried chicken with some type of gravy might go better with a red because you want some tan to clean that fat. And in this case also, it's an Asian-inspired dish. Riesling, classic match with Asian foods, often a tough food match, but Riesling does very well because also in the acidity, you have a little bit of sweetness in this wine. And there's a little bit of heat in the food. There's just a touch of spice in that dish. So traditionally, if you have a very dry wine, hot food, it's going to make the alcohol even more apparent. It's going to make the wine taste hotter. A little sweetness matches well with the heat in the dish, and they tend to neutralize each other. It marries very well.
And I'm getting excited to try it. Let's try it.
Let's try it.
That's a wonderful Riesling.
I see what you mean. That acid is very, very clean and persistent.
It is. And yeah, the sweetness is there on its own. You think, I notice it. I think with the food you don't. And I can talk very briefly. There's another great match for Asian foods, especially very spicy foods. Something that we have on our dessert list, but a very popular category now, Moscato. We have the Lacera, the Marchesa di Greci, Moscato d'Asti. I can't think there's a better pairing in the world for a spicy Thai dish or anything. The bubbles, the cleansing, the acidity, and the sugar are there. It's a great match for a little spicy Asian food.
And I'm ready to try this Riesling. See what do you want us to try the food first? How you walk?
Why don't we
us through
try
it?
it on it? Why don't we
tell us
try it
what
on
we-
its own?
Yep.
And then we'll think what you think of it. Then we'll have a bite of the food, taste it again, and see how they pair up.
Watch how everything marries
Yeah,
together.
absolutely.
And what are we looking for when we taste? Just roughly.
Well, I think we're going to get, like I said, a little bit of sweetness. Certainly in the nose is going to be a little lychee, a little tropical fruit.
Notes, yeah.
Definitely, though, some wet stone in the background. It's got great minerality.
Smells yummy.
And then as you drink, you can feel that acidity. Your mouth will start to water all the way up the back of your cheeks.
Crisp still. That's it.
Absolutely.
I got it. Yeah,
And
I
that's
gotta
the
dive in.
acidity and the sugar really play well off each other.
Jason,
Keep
I
it being
have to
crisp.
dive in this.
Let's go.
This is let's try this out and see what we're doing.
I'm going after it.
Going all in.
Oh,
It's great that they're bite-sized.
that does work well.
Yeah, it is
So,
yummy.
When you're doing a food and wine pairing,
That is
there
yummy.
are a
That's
few
a great
different things
choice.
that are going to happen. First of all, there are very few that are going to be really, truly awful. I think the worst that usually happens is the food's going to taste okay, the wine's going to taste okay, neither of them are great. And then what you're looking for, obviously, is for them to work together to something really magical happen.
It's a fantastic pairing. It's almost as if the wine is the second half of the experience. Just kind of taking those notes, as you said, the kind of tart, not tart, but the bright acidity from the vinegar sauce and kind of carrying it through to a sailing.
I think that was a great choice.
Great.
That was, yep.
Right to it.
I'm gonna have to try this again.
And also, we also said the acidity, you mentioned the saline finish, and that's salt in food, when it gets too high, can really diminish acid as well. So when you have something with salt and acid, you definitely want an acidic wine, nice acidic wine. And it doesn't only happen in whites. You can get it in reds as well, but definitely usually something from a cooler climate, going to maintain a little more acidity in the grapes, something not quite as ripe.
It's a great balance. I tell you, it just marries well.
Curiously, what's one other wine that you might suggest for a dish such as this?
You know, as I had thought about that, there are a couple, and they're both sparklers. I think one of my favorites with Asian foods in general, Asian-inspired foods, is Moscato. We particularly like the Lacera Moscato d'Asti quality region to produce Moscato. I mean, there are hundreds on the market right now. If you go with the Moscato d'Asti, you're going to get really great quality. The sugar in the wine.
Underappreciated wine.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many.
The bubbles, it's great. And also champagne. Champagne is really, really high acid wine. The bubbles are great to wash fat off the palate. And people only think of it for celebrations. And I think people should think of it with food all the time.
Or sparkling wine, maybe, that just don't be scared.
No, it's one of the few wines that I think most people who agree on will go from the beginning of the meal all the way through dessert and handle everything pretty well if you had to pick one wine.
It's a great desert island.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Jason, we're moving on to our second pairing here. What are we drinking?
What we have tonight is a little Nebbiolo d'Alba, producers Da Milano, 2009. Not sure if you're familiar. Nebbiolo is a grape that is in Barolo, Barbaresco, two greatest wines of the Piedmont. Unfortunately, those wines are incredibly expensive. They can be out of reach for a lot of people, especially for an everyday meal. If you're just coming in to have a quick steak, or even in your backyard throwing something on the grill, do you want to open up a $75 bottle of wine? Maybe not. Nebbiolo d'Alba, declassified, grown outside the Barbaresco and Barolo production zones, but still very good, especially depending on the producer. And I think we can talk a little bit about the pairing once we see the dish that we're going to pair that with. And
what are we pairing with? Let's bring it over.
All right. Wellington ready.
And
This is our filet of beef Wellington. I'm sure we've heard of this. Classic preparation. Consists of a tenderloin of beef, a little sautéed spinach, a little pan-seared foie gras, a little mushroom duxelle, all wrapped in a puff pastry and baked. I think we were talking a little bit earlier in terms of the protein and the meat pairing reds with reds and whites with whites. In this case, the filet, very lean meat. However, because we have the foie gras, a lot of fat, the puff pastry, very buttery. The finished dish is very, very rich.
Let me turn this.
Absolutely.
And see exactly what's going on in here.
We're going to actually pour this Madeira demi-glaze on as well. It's going to add a little touch of sweetness to the finish.
And the Horsemen have previously rated this, and it was phenomenal.
I'm glad
I'm right now outside. It was phenomenal. It was a great effort, and it was spectacular.
And I think, in terms of preparing dishes that have this much richness, this much fat, a grilled ribeye, some steak with a lot of marbling, a lot of fat, or something with like the foie gras, what you're going to want in your wine is tannin. Tannin on its own, a back porch wine, probably not. It's got a strong structure, it's very drying, but when you pair it with food, tannin actually kind of binds to the fat molecules, takes it off your palate, makes the dish much more harmonious. And this Nebbiolo d'Alba, not quite as huge. It's not the very tannic expression that a Barolo might be. It's on the softer side of a Nebbiolo expression.
What year was it?
It's a 2009.
Okay.
Which, excellent year. Pretty much all over Europe for the most part. And so this wine is a great Nebbiolo, very tannic usually, even though it's a softer expression, definitely has the tannin and the weight to carry a dish like this.
So what's an example of a wine you would avoid pairing with a heavier, richer dish such as this?
Something, a Burgundy, a little Pinot Noir.
Yep.
Beautiful. Maybe the filet on its own would be a perfect match. Lower fat, it'll take that lighter, more supple red. A duck breast without the skin might be a great match. But once you get into something with a lot of marbling, a lot of tannin, or a lot of richness, I think Pinot, which has a lower tannin profile, or even a big jammy Shiraz, not terribly tannic, it's going to feel clumsy with it.
Right, sure.
So I think this wine, which by the same token, probably would rather drink those on their own or something, but with food, have some Italian wine with a bit of cheese, a little bit of meat, even an appetizer, changes the game completely.
Well, it's great to see an Italian wine, for example, paired rather than just going to the go-to Merlot or Cabernet. So many people might just think a lot about it.
Yeah, and it's got some great earthiness as well, which picks up the mushroom notes, I think, in the dish.
Sure.
And it's hard to stop, just, keep from diving into this, just staring at it.
Well,
It's a
take
very
it.
rich note.
It's a nice acidity.
Very, very nice. But
You just sit back and enjoy the Barolo.
You can do that as well.
Let's
Why don't you
us
try
through
a
this.
taste of this?
Yep, walk us through this.
I would,
Yeah, it's presented nice.
It's here for everyone's plate. A little difficult to eat once we get it disassembled.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I think the essential part is you do want to try
Right,
a little bit of everything
component, sure,
in one bite. It might be better if you take one from over there.
Okay. I just,
You're so excited.
I took your knife. I'm excited to get into this and try this pairing out.
So again, I found tasting this wine on its own delicious, very, very beautiful aromatic nose. It does have that exactly what you said. It's not maybe it's a little bit more grippy than what you sip on by itself on the back fork.
Beautiful wine, love it. Not what I choose for a movie night. When you're sitting down to dinner, that's when it really sings. So they come together to make something.
It's time to get serious. You break it out. That's yummy. I think we're ready for bed.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. I
There's
think
more. That's spectacular.
I'm glad you enjoyed that pairing, and I think a lot of earthy flavors, great tannins, really nice match with this dish. Of course, I think another match, Cabernet, traditional, excellent with a big steak. But as we talked about earlier, sometimes it's better to get away from the obvious choice. Try to find a pairing that's a little different. Like I said, right now I think you can get a lot of value too from lesser known regions or lesser known grape.
And this is something that you pour by the glass here, or?
Yeah, we pour this by the glass. Everything we're going to try today we have by the glass, which makes it easier to try a pairing. We're happy to pour a taste for anyone to see if that works for them. If it doesn't, we go back and try something else. You don't need to commit to an entire bottle.
That's great.
This is an absolute great match. This is a good trade.
Yeah. Great idea.
Glad we enjoyed that.
Well, that's good. I don't know what's next.
Our third pairing is a dessert selection. I think a lot of people these days when they're out in restaurants give themselves short shrift. Once dessert comes, they stop thinking about wine. I think it's one of the most fantastic and interesting categories of wine. So in this case, we've actually, we're going to have a chance to taste a little history. It's something we do pour by the glass. It is a 1941 Colheita port from Quinta do Noval. The Quinta tawny style is an interesting style. It was actually produced in 1941. It stays in the barrel of the winery until someone orders it, and then they bottle it and ship it out. This was actually bottled in 2005 for us. So it's spent quite a long time in wood, exposed to oxygen, gives it a really tawny, oxidative character. And that's a fancy word for saying it ends up having a lot of flavors of nuts, some toffee, caramel. It's a little reduced, very stable wine, absolutely beautiful. And I think the most important thing to think of when you're pairing dessert wines and desserts is the dessert wine should always have more sweetness than the dessert, or else it's going to fall completely flat. You won't be able to taste the wine. So in this case, the tawny style of port, not incredibly rich, like a vintage or a ruby port would be, hugely fruity and sweet. This tends to be a little more subdued with those toffee caramel flavors, so we paired it classically with a little Roquefort cheese and a little fig paste and some fruit. So I think that's going to work well together, but let's give it a try first, certainly.
That's dense.
Well, it's complex.
It starts a little bit hot,
Yep.
but I think the most important thing on this wine is the finish is
Still
very long.
Yeah.
You'll taste this for a long time after you leave this table.
Jason, I feel in my days in the Hannah region, retail store, people ask me all the time, what is the difference between a ruby port and a tawny port? One sentence. What's the basic difference?
Ruby port, young, aged in the bottle,
Yep.
retains a lot of freshness, a lot of the grape character.
Okay.
The tawny port is going to be aged in the barrel. It's going to be exposed to air. It's going to age a little longer, usually 10, 20, or 30 years. So it tends to get a little oxidative. It tends to be a little reduced, have a little more nutty kind of caramel overtones. That was one long sentence.
That was good. And just to clarify, because I have a hard time believing it, this tawny was bottled upon your order.
Yes, yes.
40, 50 years after
40,
it's been packaged.
yeah. Over 40 years after it was produced at the winery, we ordered it, they put it in bottles and ship it over. And then the wine doesn't develop any longer in the bottle so much because of the high alcohol content, but at that point it's really done a lot of developing on its own. But I think if we try with some cheese, it'll be even more interesting. So,
And walk us through.
So what kind of, this is a
little French Roquefort, and I like the salinity, the saltiness of the cheese. I think works a little with the salinity. It's almost a sherry-like finish on this port, a little maturized.
That's yummy.
Yeah. I mean, port and Stilton, a classic match from England. And there's a reason that some things are classics. You don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time.
Absolutely not. Well, that is tawny port taken to the next level.
Absolutely.
Definitely complements and marries with that, with the cheese. What is this?
A little fig paste as well, which will add a bit of sweetness, and of course some champagne grapes.
I should went with the fig paste and the Roquefort. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Go right ahead.
Try that and see what. Enjoy it.
And so, after taking a bite of food, that's when you kind of, like me, taste it almost with the wine to really compare the two.
Yeah, I mean, right after, I try to get it in there while the food's going on, so all those flavors get to interplay at once. And it's a really happy marriage. Sometimes when you get them right, you get the pairing right, the food and the wine both taste better than they do on their own, and that's what you're looking for.
That salinity, as you said, pairs so nicely with the sweetness of that.
But it almost, the pairing turns it almost buttery. Takes off a little of the front of the cheese. But everything brings it around with the port. It's just, I can't, no words.
Wow. I'm glad
it's absolutely, it's a great, great pairing you've supplied here.
Excellent. I'm glad you had a chance to come by and taste some wines with us and talk about some food and wine pairings.
No, absolutely. Jason, thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure. Josh, thank you so much.
And Josh, thank you very much for coming, and anytime you can throw some insight into what we're drinking, what we're eating.
It's my pleasure.
Welcome to the wine cellar at Moooo. I apologize for the noise in the background. That's our temperature and humidity control system, which is necessary to keep all these wines in top condition, including some very old bottles that we have that certainly deserve the care. Something that I can think of right here. So, Malvasia 1900 Madeira, the wine that our forefathers drank during revolutionary days. Incredible stuff, will last forever if it's properly cared for. And here in the wine cellar, in this room we're sitting in right here, we're probably talking in the range of 1,000 bottles of wine. Once we move behind into the reserve cellar, about another 2,500 bottles. All told, between here and offsite storage, we're talking between 3,000 and 4,000 bottles, and that varies depending on the time of year. And of course, that's about 400 selections on the wine list, give or take. And those rotate through depending on when vintages are ready, what we can get in stock, and what we think is ready for the guest to drink.
Hi, I want to thank Jason Michalak for having us here at Mooo Restaurant and showing us and describing all these great pairings. He did a great job with it. Mooo Restaurant in itself for having us here. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check out our website, fourhorsemeat.com. And like everything, I'm Jim Kasparian, Four Horseman Eat. Sample everything. Cheers.